Hi, my name is Larry Miller. Thank you for tuning in to Connected Geek, the Connected Podcast. I'm here with some great friends of mine. I have Kristin Kendall, Ejay Graf, and Jodi Luster, and we're all here to have this podcast. It's all about checking in with your tribe. That's the name of this podcast. So everybody you see on the screen, and if you're listening at home on the podcast, all four of us are part of a group called Lucas, and we all are out to help each other be successful in our own rights and successful with each other. We're accountability partners. We're help each other in our own businesses, and we do a lot of great work with each other to be successful with each other. I like to just kind of go around the virtual table right now and have everybody introduce themselves and give a little bit of a story, if you would, about where they are and what they're doing in this time of being at home. So, Kristin, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and go for it.
So I'm Kristin. I am a coach and a consultant, and I work for Joy Southfield Community Development Corporation, which does a lot of work in the Cody Rouge area in Detroit. That job I'm still doing from home. And what am I doing with the rest of my time? Having a lot of quiet time. My daughter lives in Chicago, so I live by myself. I go for a lot of walks with my mom and friends, and talk to friends on Zoom, like on here, and do a lot of writing. And of course, binge watching movies. That's about it.
Great.
And trying not to eat. Baking a lot and trying not to eat.
So true. Ejay?
I'm Ejay. Hi. I am the founder of Talking Bean Media. I do social media, digital marketing, all of that super duper funness. Currently, I am doing client work. Super fun. Trying to figure out my sewing machine because it's just, I don't even know what's happening to it. I'm trying to get a whole bunch of face masks together so I can donate to hospitals. I have a lot of family that is within the hospital system, so I want to make sure that me and mine are covered. I have a 4-year-old. She's a lot of fun.
Cool. Thank you, Ejay. Jodi Luster.
Okay, so I have just finished my nationwide tour of taking care of people whose health has not been that great. They were not COVID patients, but they had other stuff going on because other health issues don't stop just because COVID's going on. Nope. So got back in town last week to finally be sequestered in my own house for a while, unless somebody else needs some nursing care by their side. But just been building my businesses. I'm the CEO and founder of Bellwether Network, which is a business, and we specialize in nonprofit consulting and development. And then beginning to expand my Elevate Me business as well. So it's just been really interesting being in the house after flying all over the country. So it's actually been good for me to sit down for a week because you get tired when you're a caregiver. So that was fun, and I'm so glad that the airplanes and airports were not full. So that part was interesting.
Understandable.
Right. Yeah.
Well, welcome back, and thank you for that. Appreciate that. Thank you, ladies, for giving your intros. Once again, I'm Larry Miller. I'm from Connected Geek. I do a lot of IT for home and residential companies and companies. I do IT for small businesses and residential. That's what I do. So it's been very busy for me, actually, because a lot of people are really needing to work from home and they're needing my assistance to get through that. And we'll talk more about that later. But today we're going to talk about some topics that are kind of really resonating with a lot of people right now. And part of this podcast is it's called Connected. And Connected is we talk about from everything from well-being to IT and everything else in between, because we are all connected and we all are important to each other, and we have to be a supportive system. And these three ladies have been nothing but supportive to me and my adventures, and I've been done nothing but great to them, I hope. And they have been very good support system for me and to their friends and families. One of the questions that I had for the group, and it's open forum in that respect, is how are we coping with that? So what is the coping mechanisms that we're doing to try and work through this time right now with being at home? We're going almost 4 weeks now. Anyone have a
Chocolate.
Chocolate works
Lots
great.
of it.
Chocolate is a great thing.
I had my birthday last weekend, and it was definitely interesting. But I was fortunate because with technology, I was video chatting with everybody. So instead of just getting the phone calls, I could still see my loved ones, which was really, really nice. I mean, my husband and my daughter tried super hard to make it still a great birthday. But you always miss all of the traditions that you always do.
Right.
So that was nice. That was a nice ease into another great year. Other than that, I'm lots of chocolate, lots of coffee. I may be sleeping a little bit later than I should, but it's
Well, that's an important thing to do. Is, since we have the time, why not just work towards find some inner peace, so to speak. And so that extra little bit of sleep does help us a little bit. Having some more quality time with the family, that's a great coping mechanism. I've been busy since day one, so and I work from my home in the first place, so it's nothing new in my world. But it's I have a very supportive family, and it's been very and this group right here has been nothing but supportive to me as well. So that's my way of getting around some of this for sure. Anyone else?
Getting outside. Oh, go ahead, Jodi.
Oh, go ahead, Kristen. Go ahead, baby.
Just getting outside as much as possible. I said earlier about walks, and I did not stipulate socially distanced walks, of course. My mom is 77, and she is a badass, but she's still kind of, besides going to exercise class, she goes to museums, but she doesn't go out a whole lot, even though she's in great health. So we make sure we go on walks every couple days, usually in one of the parks on trails. And everybody's been great about distancing, being very polite, staying on the other side of the trail. But you can tell people are hungry for connection because everybody's smiling and talking and really, really friendly, which has been kind of cool to come out of this. And like I said, baking and cooking, even though I live by myself, which is stupid because then I just put it all in the freezer or give it to other people. And writing, a lot of writing and a lot of reading. And just trying to, I'm waiting for warm weather because as soon as I can get in the garden, none of this is going to faze me, except of course we're being concerned about people that are ill. But I'm going to be outside digging in the dirt as soon as I possibly can. So that will be a big help.
Busy. Yep. Perfect.
Yeah.
So, Jodi?
No, I'm kind of with Larry. Like, soon as I got back in town, and before, while I was out of town, I have patients, so I am on the phone or on the computer all day with patients. And I do online counseling, so I just, like, before I got on, I was doing some patient dialogue. So yeah, it's just when you kind of work from home already, it just kind of ups the volume of work. So
Right.
In between seeing patients online and triaging patients through the health system, especially because it's so stressful for them right now, then I'm just, trying to get stuff done for my own business and consulting and doing consulting remotely with my clients. So it just has it's gotten, like Larry said, it's just crazier. It's like more,
Mm-hmm.
because
Right.
people don't have the other distractions. So they're like,
Yeah.
oh, well, let me get some work done, or let me get my counseling session in, and I'm like, okay, that means I'm not breathing, but that's okay, you know.
So in other words, Jodi, I need to come drag you out for a walk.
Probably because I really haven't been outside. Like
Yes,
I
I'm
keep
coming to take you for a walk then.
I keep my door open. And I've got house issues and stuff. So it's like, for me, it's just got like crazier, like stuff is going on at my mom's house I got to take care of. And I'm just like, what? Like everybody else is getting a break. What's happening? So it's just interesting dynamic. My life is bizarre.
That brings up a great thought process in my head. Was like, you know, all of us, and we know a lot of entrepreneurs, how being an entrepreneur keeps you busy no matter what you're doing, because you really don't have time to, you know, get distracted by, you know, the other work, or get you don't have an actual day job. You have a life job, if you want to call it that. And what's happening is, you know, your customers and your business, it still goes on, because we have those type of businesses that maintain outside of like the corporate world, if you want to call it that. And what I worry about is the people that don't have that stimuli, so to speak, and they aren't getting. They're coming home. Okay, they're binge watching them, you know, all the shows, and they're, you know, doing, they're doing all these TikTok videos, which is like they're doing all this dancing, which is kind of cute. That the families are being really, that's their way of coping, right? So
Right.
they're it's kind of bringing some of the family home units closer, but you know, at the end of the day, when you're going back to bed, you know, they're still worrying about the money, still worrying about, you know, I know there's a stimulus package that's happening, but there's still things that are happening that's like,
It's slow.
yeah,
It's really slow. My other two jobs are gig jobs, and we can't, last I checked, we can't apply for unemployment yet.
right.
I feel lucky. This is going to sound perverse. I feel lucky that I was already kind of struggling financially, so I'm kind of accustomed to it. And I think that's part of the reason that I'm feeling pretty pragmatic about this. Again, separating all of this from being worried about people that we know that are sick, and not making light of that at all.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just trying to figure money out and making phone calls and asking for forbearance and talking to my landlord, who luckily is a friend of mine, that kind of stuff, to try not to worry about it. Larry, you made a good point about families having a lot of fun and being really creative. A lot of the stuff that I'm seeing online, because of course now there's time to scroll through Facebook, which normally there's not.
Yeah.
But I'm also concerned about families where people are buying a lot of alcohol, or there's domestic abuse. Not to kind of shoot the topic down, but I think that's a big concern right now. And people who are having to spend a lot of time with their kids, who are not educators, and really, you know, realizing that, even though they're gone for 7 or 8 hours a day, learning doesn't take 7 or 8 hours a day. So what do we do the rest of that time?
Right. Right.
So,
well, I've noticed that a lot of people have taken this opportunity to not only connect with their children, which is grand, but making it a learning experience, because not only, you know, teaching them how to just everything from washing their hands to just understanding that, you know, my niece, she's 3 years old, but they're doing an experiment on growing plants, and so she's being involved with that kind of thing. So you know, they just do walks around the block, but she doesn't have a lot of other children interaction, but at the same time, it's still, they're taking the opportunity to, they're going to be home, she's going to be home, let's find some way to keep us stimulated. And I know that's hard for a lot of parents, i.e. EJ, with a younger child, to keep them stimulated. And it's a very tough situation that we're all going through right now. And that's one of the things we have to figure out. How do we stay busy? How do we stay busy during this time and not go insane, if you want to call it that? It's any other comments about coping and staying busy? I mean,
Well, I just think it's that for me, this has been a wonderful time to get caught up on a lot of things. One of the other things, in addition to working on some of the business expanse stuff is I just happened to buy a Rosetta Stone program. So I'm learning a new language.
Nice.
Right? Like stuff like that. Like just whatever you need to do to keep your mind stimulated.
Right.
I'm like, it can't hurt for me to brush up on my Spanish and start, learning a little French or what have you,
Right.
And so when I want to break from clients, because that's constant, then I just like, oh, you know what? Let me just get on here and practice a little Spanish.
Right.
Just it's amazing, when you have technology and you at least have your internet up, and they're giving a lot of free internet for families who don't have it too right now, which is great. Then you can do a lot of things if you let your mind go there and become creative. So I think sometimes we get stuck in our daily routines and we forget it's other stuff out there that we can do new to give us some new stimuli.
Right.
Cool.
So one thing that EJ and I were joking about real quick is both of us, and although I think we've all four of us have talked about this in terms of struggling with procrastination sometimes, and I know I'm not alone in that, but I know I could win some medals for it. The level of procrastination I take it to. So two things, I've talked to a lot of other people that are struggling with that, and have been doing a lot of reading about how we as Americans in our culture, because we don't know how to slow down, a lot of people are beating up on themselves, or I should be like Jodi, the stuff that you're talking about doing, which is fantastic. And I'm thinking, I could, clean up my jewelry studio and start, making art again, or all those boxes that I never unpacked when I moved 3 years ago, that I need to unpack them and stuff like that. And I think people are really struggling with, I'm not getting enough done. I have all this time that, when you go to work every day and you're like, oh, if I just had an extra day or an extra week, I'd get all this stuff done. And now we have this extra time. And sometimes people are at a loss and not being able to get their butts off the couch. I think that's kind of a struggle sometimes.
It is.
So.
It is. For sure. So, when you get to that place, when you are like down and you procrastinated yourself to the point where I don't know what to do next. I don't know how to get out of that slump.
Or have deadlines for work.
Exactly. So what do you suggest, or do you have an inkling or a thought about helping anyone that's listening to this, maybe to help them get out of those funks, if you want to call it that, because a lot of people are in a funk. They don't know how to fix this. Yeah. Anyone?
I am really with Kristin. Go outside. Like a lot of people are thinking they got to stay in the house, and you don't have to stay in the house.
No, you don't.
Go outside. We've had a couple of days where we've had some solid sunshine for at least a few minutes.
It's out there today.
Yep.
We got sun today here, at least.
We keep stuck back under the clouds up here, but
yeah, it is. It's stuck in and out, but if you can get 5 good minutes of sunshine, I think it does help.
Oh yeah.
So that's
vitamin D.
My thing is get your butt outside. And while you're stuck in the house, drink your water, right? Like that's that's the other thing. People don't drink enough water.
Nope.
Like it's amazing what it can do. And I think a lot of times we're all suffering from a low grade dehydration, because we probably don't drink nearly as much water as our individual bodies need. There's that 64 ounces, but that's like a generalization. Each body needs its own amount. And I know I'm different when I drink the 120 ounces that my body requires. I'm a different person. I'm way more productive. My thoughts fly. I can get stuff done. And so sometimes I think we are just nutritionally and hydrationally in a funk. And so when you procrastinate and stuff, some of that's your body is telling you, look, I'm not getting enough of just the regular stuff. I need some sunshine, I need some water, and I need some nutrients. And sometimes people don't even think about that. It's like you just need some good old fashioned primary basic
some carrots.
Yeah. Need some really basic stuff.
Eat your vegetables.
To get you going. So you be like, man, I got all this time. I can't leave the house. I can't go to work, but I'm like dragging. That's because you dehydrated and you're nutrient deficient. That's probably why.
Wait, and the Rite Aid is down the street with Cheetos.
Exactly.
But they're still open, so you can get them.
I need some Cheetos.
Our Rite Aid has them. They may not have toilet paper or Lysol,
But they got Cheetos.
Fingers and Cheetos.
Yep.
I'll take some
Well,
Cheetos.
it's the important things that they're stocking.
Of course. Most important thing.
I think something else that's important, and again, EJ and I joke about this. EJ and I joke that Larry and Jodi are like the parents. They tend to act more like grown-ups, at least on the surface. And EJ and I are like the bad kids. So I tend to tell on myself to friends and ask for help. And it doesn't always help because I'm stubborn and I fight it and, have this long-standing habit of avoiding stuff and then walking around feeling like I'm in trouble all the time. And because that's a pattern of mine, I'm able to walk around with that low level of anxiety and guilt. But really telling on myself does help. Telling friends that I know that will kick me in my butt, including these three right here, really does help. Even if I don't get stuff accomplished, I'm determined to get rid of this pattern because it's an awful, awful habit that I've had for most of my life. So I never quit trying to change it.
That's good.
That's perfect.
My friends really are a big help with that, especially this group, because the amount of conversation, the amount of hours we spend trying to sort through stuff and being entrepreneurs. My business is behind. I started later than Larry and Jodi and EJ. So that's not really keeping me busy right now, which is one more thing that's like, I could be working on, building this and getting content and designing it. And I'm waiting to go outside and in the garden.
Right. But that's
where you do it.
Need. Yeah, that may be what you need. You might need your connection to the earth to really push away your blocks, right?
It's your way of working through it. Yeah.
Jodi, we're gonna put it that way.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it can. Like my one favorite thing is traveling, and like I said, even though I had to go and be a caregiver, I love being on an airplane and traveling to someplace. So like I came back with that juice. So I was like, I had my one day of travel fatigue because I came back from a place where it was a 4-hour distance, 4-hour time difference. So I had to get my body readjusted. And then I was like, let's go.
Right.
But sometimes we need our juice, and your juice is gardening.
Yeah.
And you live in the wrong state for that kind of need and inspiration. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But you know what? I love spring and fall. So it's not like watching everything emerge right now is amazing. And anybody who not just going outside, but really taking time to be mindful of the flowers coming up and the leaves coming out on the trees, which sounds, all tree hugger-ish, but it's kind of magical. If you can see it, kind of like EJ with her daughter, if you can see it through the eyes of a child and watching all this stuff emerge. My guy keeps arguing about wanting to live in Florida full time. And I was like, no, absolutely not. As much as I wouldn't mind being somewhere warm for the winter, spring and fall are too much a part of what I love to leave Michigan full time. So at least for right now.
Well, that's what I'm so happy about with them. On the bright side of this whole COVID thing is that we can see literally the light at the end of the tunnel with the summer coming and people being able to get outside a little bit more. We have so much of this media being thrown at us right now, both on our phones, on our internet, everywhere, about how horrible it is. And it is a horrible thing. And I don't want to make light of it in any way, shape, or form, but we still have to look for that light. We still have to see that there's things out there that are going to help us be successful, internally and externally. We have, this group of people right here talking. We have people that are willing to, there's so many good people out there that are giving of themselves during this time. And we have to look at all those good things, because if we don't look at the good periodically, we all we see is bad.
Yeah.
And what's the point of moving forward if everything is bad?
Right. Exactly. And so I don't know what everybody is doing spiritually right now, but I think that's something that you got to nurture too. You got to, if some people don't have a spiritual life, and that's cool. But I think that for those of us who do, and churches shut down, for some people that's their spiritual outlet.
Right.
For me, spirituality doesn't stop. It's every day.
Right.
That's, I pray every day. That's just me.
Right.
But I think that with this kind of scare for people, if you don't have a spiritual life, your anxiety is going to be at an all-time high, right? Because
Yeah.
you like, what is going on? Is the world falling apart? And I don't believe that it is. I believe this too shall pass, but I think that for some people, this might be a time to kind of nurture your spirit along with everything else.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's a part of why I wanted to have this show, is because I think we all need to stay connected, and we all need to stay in a place in our minds and in our bodies and our spirits to help each other be successful going forward. Because after
Right.
this time, there are going to be some people that have either lost their jobs, they don't know what to do
Yes.
next, they don't know how to
Yes.
handle this, they don't even know how to handle this time, let alone what's going to happen after the fact.
Right.
And we are going to get this stimulus package, and so how do I handle that kind of money? Do I put it away? Do I invest it? Do I buy food? I mean, those are
Right.
those are important things. But something that I'm trying to do inside of my own self is how can I help other people be successful in that pattern to be becoming a better person at their end of this. And that's one of the motivators that it's, the ladies here know me very well in the sense that I'm not very good in front of this camera, or at least I say I'm not. But it's fear that's keeping us from doing what's important in life. And I need to overcome that fear to be in front of this camera talking to you right now. And it's the support of these ladies and my family to help me be successful in that respect. So at the end of the day, if there's something that we can do to help you be successful, whoever's listening or watching this, please reach out to us and maybe we can help you in any way, shape, or form. I just know that I'm the kind of person that wants to help somebody else. If I can give of me to help you be successful, I'm not worried about the money. I'm not worried about the time. I'm worried about you being happy and healthy on the other side of that. And if Connected and Connected Geek can do that, then me personally, Larry, has been successful in that respect. So, and I just wanted to thank the ladies here for helping me get through that. And I appreciate each and every one of you for that. So,
Larry, you bring up a good point that something that we didn't mention really in terms of something to do right now, and opportunities are a little bit more limited, but volunteering. There are organizations that need help, and everything doesn't have to be in person. Even though I'm in really good health, next weekend is my birthday and I'm getting ready to turn 51. So I'm kind of watching how much I'm willing to go out. A lot because I want to be able to be around my mom. Both of us are isolated, so we can be around each other, but, I'm very careful, with her. But there's a lot of volunteer opportunities. So getting online and finding out how you can contribute, and it doesn't have to be money. A lot of us, don't have the money to give, but we have time, we have ideas, we have energy and passion that we can give to really worthy causes that are kind of drowning right now, having lost volunteers and lost funding and stuff like that. So that's something else to do.
Awesome.
Because we all love helping. I think that's true, Larry. I think you spoke for four of us when you said that about helping people.
Yeah, I think it's an inherent to all of our spirits, and I think it's something that we, at least if I didn't see that inside of each one of you, I don't think we'd be involved with in any way, shape, or form, because I think we all see something in each other that we don't see in ourselves, and so it helps us all four of us lift up together, and that's how we become successful. That's how we overcome our hurdles or struggles or whatever's, just to kind of get through the day. And I just want all of us to be better people. Ellen DeGeneres, I can't even say her name.
DeGeneres.
She always says at the end of her shows, be kind, right? And I know that's something that, we just need to just collectively, if we're just a little more kind in our world, a little more kind to each other, a little more kind to just even ourselves, we need to find a way to just say, don't beat up that procrastination you talked about, Kristin, earlier, is like, you know, that's part of a fear. That's part of, you know, beating up ourselves to try. But you know, we have to give ourselves a little bit of a break. You know, we've had a pretty rough year so far, and it's, you know, 2020 has not only done is given us clarity of like the eyesight, like the suggestion it does, but it's also given us clarity of other things in our life. You know, it's showing us that our society is kind of broken a little bit, and it's our everything from politics to just our well-being. And I think, you know, I saw this little meme the other day. Let's just reboot 2020, right?
Yeah.
And just start over. Well, you know what?
Yes.
I would, the only thing I would change is all the people that have been hurt for this inside this quarantine and this coronavirus. But the clarity that we're getting on the other side of it, I wouldn't change, because I think we are seeing things about our society, our world, our persons that we couldn't have seen any other way. And I'm meeting people and I'm interacting with people that I haven't had an opportunity to do that because of this pandemic. So I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts about that? I mean, did I go too deep, or was that
No, I think it's perfect. You know, I love deep stuff. So
yes, exactly.
I called this the year of perfect vision. When it first came, I'm like, you know, 2020, we're gonna see some stuff. I didn't envision this pandemic, but I know that there are a lot of people who are changing their trajectory because of this. And I agree with you, Larry. And here's the thing, and I don't want to sound morbid, because to me it's not morbid. This is the cycle of humanity. We all gonna die. I'm sorry, please understand.
No,
we're all going to die. This is a realm of temporary things. Nothing lasts forever. And I don't know why as humans that's so hard for us to grasp. But you're gonna be born and you're gonna die. That's everybody's trajectory. Everybody. Nobody gets the pass.
Yeah, nobody escapes. Nobody escapes.
So to me, it's not
nobody gets
morbid,
out alive.
No, it's not a morbid thing. This is just how it is. It's always been that way. It's always gonna be that way. What we don't know is the how or the when. That's what we don't know. Right. So we get scared of something that's coming for all of us. Like, come on now. This is just the cycle. Just like we like spring and we like winter. That's life saying, you know, some things pass away and some things come. So, you know, we just get a little afraid of the reality that we've all lived for eternity. And that just kind of bothers me about humans, but whatever. We just need to understand that this is just.
Jodi, you just need to talk to everybody. Get them all under control here.
Right, just wrangle that crap right on in.
This is just how it is, and this too shall pass. Like, this is not the first pandemic. You know, it's not the first.
Exactly, Jodi. We've had these before. This is at a pretty significant level, but that's what I've kept wondering is, what does the world look like after the plague, after the Spanish flu in 1918? What did the world look like? Right. And what did it take to recover? Right. Derek, you made a really good point about kindness, because I think that's something that we've been missing for the last couple years in a lot of ways, is being kind to one another and not walking around so angry. Excuse me. When I go in places or talk to customer service people on the phone and give compliments or ask to see a manager in a restaurant, the manager comes out kind of like this, because I think they're expecting me to blow them out of the park. Even when I ask people, like, how are you, you know, retail or whatever customer service position they're in, just say and look at them if I'm with them and say, how are you? How's your day? I'm so taken aback that anybody cares, that anybody's asking how they are, and they thank me. And it's the tiniest thing. It's the tiniest little thing to have a conversation with somebody and see them and hear them and acknowledge their humanity, which is getting deep again, which is what namaste means. You know, the light in me, the God in me recognizes the light or the God in you.
Yes.
And it is not complicated. It is not hard, and it does not take more than a couple of minutes to show light and show love to people. Amen. You know?
Yeah.
But in this day and age, it's definitely an anomaly. I was shopping for groceries the other day, and I literally stopped and did just that. I asked the cashier how their day was. How are they? And they ignored me. And I was like, no, really, how are you?
Yeah.
And they didn't know how to answer.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Just,
It catches people flat-footed. If I'm on the phone doing it, there is dead silence after I say, how are you? It never fails to happen. So
we need to change the way we perceive. Everything we do is in this world has been all about negativity. If we change the positivity into a positivity, it would be hopefully that'd be more infectious than the negativity, because all we see is the negativity. It's just bombarding us all day long.
Yeah.
If we can keep throwing some of the good positive vibes towards everybody, maybe it'll start sticking, because it's easier to smile than it is to frown. So let's do it. I mean, I'm all about just helping.
Kindness makes you feel better.
It
When
does.
you're kind to people, it can help you. And taking a break, I don't think any of us mentioned that yet, of taking a doggone break from whatever you're watching, whether it's Fox or CNN or MSNBC, or reading whatever newspapers and magazines, because there's so much content out there. More does not mean better. And I'm not talking about the quality of it. I'm talking about how it overwhelms our brains. And then we just end up living in that place of heightened anxiety, or heightened news is on, or something's on all the time. We don't always do quiet well. We don't always do slow down well. A lot of the time we're like this all the time with stuff in our faces, and either anesthetizing ourselves from the world, or so involved in it that we can't kind of come down.
Right.
Yeah, I totally agree, Kristin. I started that. I think that's one of the reasons why I seem like I'm more productive, because back in the early 2000s, I think about 2010, I just stopped watching television. That was just a part of my transition. I don't watch television. I go online to look and see what's going on in the world. I just don't watch it, because I don't like the programming, right? I don't want to be inundated by thoughts and fears and anxieties that I haven't chosen to consume, right? I control what I consume, and that's just my mindset as an entrepreneur. I need to control what I consume, whether it's water or food or information. I control my consumption. And so, I think that people don't think about it like that. I agree with Larry. People need a paradigm shift. Control what you consume. Why are you letting somebody shovel into your brain stuff that you didn't choose? Right. So I think we've got to do better as a society about that, because then you get emotions of anger and anxiety, and you don't even know where they came from. Well, you didn't control the consumption. So
and you throw them up all over everybody else.
Right. And then you throw up, right? And you throw up your emotions, and you throw up your hostilities, and you throw up because you've allowed yourself to be overstuffed with information and emotion and fear that you didn't even control going into you.
Yeah, and a lot of the time aren't even aware of. I don't think most of the time people understand that they're acting out of their emotions. The emotions are running the show instead of them running the emotions. I've become very aware of that over the last couple of years. I've had a couple of examples in my life of people who do tend to do that, and of all different ages. So it's not just young and then learning as they get older. And it's been a real good cautionary tale of realizing how negative I am, and how judgmental I could be, and really, really getting on myself to make changes in that, and get a little more mellow and a little bit softer, which I know the three of you find hilarious, considering how much up here I am a lot of the time. But it's really impacted my anxiety and my energy and the way I deal with people, and then being around it, because I've changed somewhat. It's really a lot more noticeable. Like, I don't want to be around that energy anymore. I don't want to be righteously indignant. I don't want to walk around angry. I don't want to walk around on 10 all the time. To have a 10-second pause and not just everything out of my mouth that comes in my brain.
I think it comes down to that you're becoming more and more self-aware, and I think if
definitely.
That's something they like teach in school. They don't even teach how to do your checkbook, but teaching people how to be self-aware or troubleshooting or that mindful, all those things are not even part of our everyday teaching society, and they teach to a test. That's all they do. And
Right.
I heard the other day that they're not going to charge for the SATs come when this is all over. It's like, why are we worried about the SATs? Let's worry about how our health is, how our
Right.
society is, instead of worrying about this dumb test that we're.
How our
Well,
mental
you know
health
that
is.
my niece who's 14 and my nephew who's going to be 14, this year in particular, they're both in 8th grade, moving on to 9th. After they come back from spring break, which this week was supposed to be for one area, next week is for another area. But after they came back from spring break, pretty much all schoolwork was kind of to halt so that they could start working on the pre-SAT.
Wow.
So they're putting that much on a pre-SAT, like they were literally not going to be doing a whole bunch of actual schoolwork.
Yeah.
Kids today are going to learn more if the parents are willing to truly educate their children. They're going to learn more in their homeschooling time frame than they will probably in the 2 years of actual educational school, because not only they're going to learn about how to interact with people better because of what's happening here, but they're also going to learn, parents are the book that our children read, right? They are literally an example of a reflection of who we are. And if we do our best to make sure that reflection is a true representation of what we want the society to become, then I think we all would be a better place. Maybe that I'm a little too, how do I say it? I'm looking through rose-colored glasses, so to speak. But I mean, I'm very keen on making sure that we work towards a better society. And I don't want the dystopian side, I don't want all the craziness that our movies try to tell us about, and what sometimes our government is trying to do. But we need to try and look past those roadblocks and try and be a better world.
Right.
That's what I would like to see for sure. Anyway, I think this has been a great conversation. I think we've done a really good job at checking in with our tribe, is what this episode's called today. And I think we all have, it's been a good reflection of what's happening in our world today. And I think we together not only can help each other, but we can help you if you need any assistance. You can always reach out to us. What I like to do is, the last thing I like to say, and this is, I'm going to read from it because of my good friend Ejay, who's been helping me with the show. I'm going to give her a little bit of credit because she's done nothing but a great support to making sure that I'm a success in my connected geek world. So thank you, Ejay. So I'm just going to read it verbatim. So sorry if I'm looking at the screen. Something that I've learned throughout the years is the most distractions are typically a welcome time to take a break. Having a routine and being mindful of time management are absolutely essential for productivity, at least for me. But I've noticed that without a distraction, I can hardly even take a break, and I could hardly even work through the night. Remember, you need to set work hours and home hours for your own good. So that's a great transition to the end of the show, is that if you don't have a schedule, if you don't have you wake up a specific time, put on your work clothes, you go to work, even if you're not in a job that requires you to actually work, still wake up at the same time, still do things that are productive in your house, clean the garage, do whatever you have to do. The weather's changing.
Structure.
It's very important to have that structure. So if anything that you get out of this is just make sure you take care of yourself. That's the most important thing. And your family is a reflection of you. So if you can take care of yourself, you're taking care of your family. So
Can't take care of them.
Right. If you can't take
unless
care of
you
you.
take care of yourself.
Right.
As Jodi was talking about traveling, and the flight attendants always say, you put your own oxygen on first. And that's something that as not just moms, but I think especially young moms or moms of young kids, we used to remind each other of that. Larry, you and I, with having older kids, our experience with this is a little different than Ejay's, where we've got somebody bouncing around our house nonstop. But yeah, you can't, whether it's a glass of wine or some yoga or a walk or venting to a friend or whatever.
Journaling, something.
Yeah, punching a pillow, punch somebody, but whatever it is, to give yourself a break.
Right.
Give yourself a break.
And I think what Larry was talking about is just finding a balance, right? And everybody has to find their own balance. Sometimes some people are morning people. I am not a morning person, like, and I'm never going to be. That's just not my balance. I don't function well like that, you know, but just using as much of this time to create a balanced, consistent way that you and your authentic self and your personality can begin to have some structure for your life that is productive, right? So maybe your time isn't 6 a.m. and maybe you don't work out as soon as you hit the floor, but maybe you do something else. Maybe you like, you know what, I'm gonna wake up at 9:30 and I'm gonna breathe and I'm gonna get me a cup of coffee, you know, but doing what's consistent for you. Maybe your nightly routine needs to include just running down the things you're grateful for at midnight and eating a piece of chocolate, like whatever, but find your balance. Yeah.
So, let's just, could Jodi just continue if you could, and just like kind of give last thoughts about what you if there's any call to action that you want to give out to anybody wants to give you a holler or, you know, help them with anything, go ahead and end your stay with us with your thoughts.
Okay, so again, I'm Jodi Luster, and my specialty is nonprofit consulting and spiritual expansion. And so my company is Bellwether Network. You can reach me at bellwethernetwork.org. You will see all the team here. They are there on their team page, all of these lovely people. So that's a great place to reach everybody if you want to. If you click on their name, it'll take you to their LinkedIn page, all of my beautiful family that you see on this video. And you know, my thing is, I'm also I don't do a whole lot of private therapy face-to-face, but if you do need counseling and you feel like, well, I kind of like her, I think I want some counseling, I am on BetterHelp at betterhelp.com, so you can get counseling through me via there. But you know, I do consulting for business, nonprofit, and my elevateme.org is coming soon. So if you're a spiritual person, if you feel like your spiritual warrior is awakened, especially at this time, then I got some great things coming to help you expand in that.
Great.
Awesome.
Thanks, Jodi. Ejay?
I really have nothing.
My goodness. Yes, you do. Listen,
let me talk for her. EJ. We can all talk for her.
Larry, I'm about to plug EJ. EJ just sent me some content, some writing the other day of what she wanted to put on LinkedIn about helping other people. And it was funny because the first version she wrote, because I'm a writer and editor too, so she was running it by me. The first version she wrote was very professional. The second version she wrote was from her heart, about people reaching out to her about their small businesses and wanting to help other people, and, you know, offering her services, and, you know, if she needs to negotiate a fee, and I'm not going to speak for her about her prices, that's up to her, but really, really wanting to help people regardless, like Larry said, regardless of money. And she's amazing. Her, the social media progress that she's made for Larry for his business is
exactly.
And I'm not BSing when I say that. So EJ likes to kind of fly under the radar.
Oh my God. Talk about too humble, like too humble. Like,
hello.
We love EJ. We love
like EJ is super
EJ
amazing.
Is a badass.
And then she's like, oh no, nothing.
Right.
Not me.
Got you, EJ. We got you. Do you want to add anything to that?
Alice's. Nothing. Bad joke.
Well, thank you, EJ. Even if you don't want to say anything, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Do you want to say anything else, EJ?
No.
Okay.
No. If you need some social media saturation, get with EJ, please.
Yeah. Yes, please.
And EJ, at least say what your website is or what your email address is so people can contact you.
You know, honestly, it's probably just easier to find me on LinkedIn. It's Ejay Graf.
Yeah.
Websites in the works.
Talking
Same.
Being Media.
Same.
Talking Being Media. And like I
.com.
said, if you go to bellweathernetwork.org, go to Meet the Team, and you can click on EJ's name. It'll take you right to our LinkedIn page.
And Connected Geek will have it as well, so it's all good.
Thanks, guys.
Miss Kendall.
All right. So I didn't mention before, my company is called The Spark Factory, and I actually do personal development coaching. I'm very good at all the stuff that I struggle with myself. And of course, I think that's true of most of us. I'm excellent at doing for other people in terms of setting up structure, developing your business, or for your own self, just whatever you need to do to get your ish together. I can help with that. And my email address is k2@thesparkfactory.net. You can also find me on LinkedIn at Kristin Kendall. So reach out and let's talk. Talking is free. Talking helps.
It does.
So
that's why I like to talk to these folks as often as I can, and some almost daily and multiple times a day.
Yes.
So once again, I'm Larry Miller from Connected Geek, and I do small business IT and residential service and support. I am having a special right now for $99. I will do your home office, set it up, get Wi-Fi connected. If you need to connect to your remote location, whatever you need to do from your home, I can help you from my home. So reach out to me. It's on my website.
No germs involved.
No germs involved, right? And we can do exactly what I'm doing with you right now. We can do a Zoom call, or I could do a remote control session. That's what Larry does. He's also has this podcast that we're going to be doing. I'm still working out the time frames of distribution, but we'll get to that. This is officially the first real one, and thank you to my tribe, as we called it, and for being part of this. And I thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for having us. If you like this video or like this podcast, please share it with your friends, and let us know what you think about it. And we're here for you.
Yes, reach out, ask for help. And if you don't want to ask us for help, ask your own tribe.
Right.
Yeah.
More people want to help you just like you want to help them. So don't be afraid to ask. It has to go both ways. If you're only helping and you don't let people help you,
That's right.
it's like algebra. The equation doesn't work.
Right.
So ask for help.
So thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for listening, and you all have a wonderful and blessed day. And we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for joining. You have a great day. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Yeah.